If I want to write a script about Forde, I need to think like Forde. So, as I stare at this blank image, I need to think, what would Forde do? I swear, Forde would be so popular if he just came out once Fire Emblem started to hit more of a mainstream audience. He's an artist who just wants to paint his pretty pictures and take naps at noon, but society is in shambles, and because of that, he has to go fight in a war. Plus, he's a cool older brother. Healthy family dynamics are becoming all the rage nowadays, thankfully, and he would just be a peak character people would eat up. But sadly, he came out in 2004, far before the fandom could lock onto him. And that's why I'm here, to bring Forde supremacy to the masses. Forde is first shown off on Chapter 5X, where he's balls deep in enemy territory with his lord, Prince Ephraim, and his fellow knights Kyle and Orson. This is Ephraim's infamous storms a castle with 4 dudes and wins scene, and it's admittedly more about Ephraim's character than Forde's, that damn main character privilege. Forde's only real scene comes in Chapter 8 where he reunites with his younger brother, and he playfully teases him, saying about how he's growing taller, and saying how Franz wants to be just like Seth, while seeming to ignore his older brother. And Forde, I love ya, but Franz aiming to be as strong as Seth is the right call here. You're like one of the worst Cavaliers in the series. But you're still a Cavalier, so you're like C tier at best. Well, to the surprise of nobody, I'm sure, Forde's character is almost all in his supports. Such is the life of a Game Boy Advance character. He has 5 of them: Franz, Erica, Ephraim, Kyle, and Vanessa. So we're going to be looking into all of them and see what makes him tick. We'll start with his fellow Christmas Cav, Kyle. Yes, in this fantasy JRPG series with names like Garneth and Kanagus, just Kyle's in there. Kyle catches Forde painting a landscape in the middle of battle, and starts to chew him out for it. Their friendship takes root from a very old but a very good trope. Forde is the typical slacker who can be competent when he's forced to, and Kyle is the man with a stick, so far up his ass he can taste the wood. It's been done a million times. But as I say often on this series, done before doesn't mean it's done bad. Kyle and Forde bicker in a way that immediately endears both of them to the player. It does a good job setting up both characters. And the two actually do far more than just bicker. Their B support shows that Forde greatly respects Kyle, despite his frequency to nag. It starts with Forde teasing Kyle about being a ladies' man. Apparently Kyle's chivalrous nature and kind heart make him popular enough with women for them to ignore how hard his ass is. But Forde remarks that it's that very nature of Kyle he admires, and it helps show that Forde is more than just a slacker. He does genuinely appreciate his comrades and the merits of hard work. And the A support also shows the respect Kyle has in turn for Forde. And it's a conversation between the two of them that I think is better off being shown to you directly. I started drawing and painting when my mother died. Really? When I was young, I won a tournament for training swordsmen. I remember that. I took 2nd place. She seemed far more pleased at a picture I'd drawn of her than at my victory. She kept that picture near her always, and she looked at it often. She rejoiced more in my skill with the brush than in my skill with the sword. I never understood why. Not until recently, at any rate. Your mother was very kind. I remember that about her. I'm sorry that she fell ill while you were so young. I feel lucky. I have my memories of her, after all. Franz, though, he was too little to talk or even walk. That's why I kept that picture of her hanging in our home. So that's the story behind that picture in your house. I didn't realize you drew it. I remember watching you practice swordplay when we were little. I wanted to be like you, and I was irritated that I didn't practice more. I got so upset with myself when I lost the tournament to you. That's why I work so hard to keep practicing and improving my skills. I didn't know. This conversation serves many purposes. It shows a more serious side to Forde that helps make him feel more fleshed out than just a one-note jokester. It also gives his backstory, showing his reason that he starts painting, and helps make his relationship with his brother more sweet and adorable. It also helps flesh out his friendship with Kyle. The support gives the basics of their tropes, but also helps elaborate on their friendship in a way that makes them feel like one of the better examples of that trope, in my opinion. I think Kyle and Forde have the best relationship out of any of the Christmas calves in the series. Their mutual respect and care for one another is very enjoyable, and their support does wonders for them both. Well, I've mentioned Franz a few times, so it's time to delve into the support itself, and Forde's dynamic with his brother is kinda similar to his dynamic with Kyle. Franz, like the old mosshead, is a very serious young man. All the time, he's thinking about his job as a knight and how to do it better. But Franz is less willing to chastise Forde than Kyle is, as he recognizes his brother's habits like painting on the battlefield, or just how he clears his mind. And when Forde tells Franz to indulge in his own hobby, fishing, Franz decides to listen to him, and ends up catching fish that the whole army can eat and enjoy. While that's a cute little scene, what really sells it is the A support, where Franz decides to tell Forde how much he genuinely loves and respects him as a person. Brother, I've realized something. Huh? What's that? You're my role model. Franz, what's with you? All of a sudden, No, it's not sudden at all. Come to think of it, I became a soldier so I could be like you. And now, I'm gonna work harder so I can be a great knight like you. That doesn't make any sense. Have you seen how lazy I am? Seriously. There are much better role models out there for you to hero worship. No, you like to act lazy. It's part of your charm, isn't it? But once the battle starts, everyone sees how sharp a warrior you are. Is that so? Yes, it is. And I also know that you like to play the part of the fool, for no other reason than to give these weary soldiers a reason to smile. This kind of scene really hits for me, as when I was a kid, I adored my older brother and looked up to everything he did. Hell, 90% of my gaming preferences are his. I'm only super into JRPGs because he played Pokemon and Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 all the time when we were kids. So maybe this kind of scene doesn't really hit for only children, but for me, their dynamic really hits home and is super enjoyable to read. And on top of that, Forde's love for his brother isn't just shown in his supports with Franz, it's fleshed out in his supports with Ephraim and Kyle too. Being a good brother is definitely a trait that's easy to like, and I think it's fleshed out wonderfully for Forde. Speaking of the Ephraim support, I want to mention it briefly for a conversation the two of them have about being siblings. Most of the support is a good deal for Ephraim's character. Forde's painted a landscape painting that reminds Ephraim of better days when he and Erica could exist in a land that wasn't trying to kill each other, and the prince gets introspective over it. Forde does have a nice line about how he started painting because Franz wouldn't stop crying about missing his parents until he looked at Forde's art. Again, a cute little bit about Forde being a good big bro. It's a charming support to be sure, and it's bookended by lovely moments for Ephraim's character, but it's the B support I want to go into. Ephraim and Forde share a moment about what it means to be compared to their siblings, and what it means to fight for them. Next to Franz, you seem like you're always half asleep. You surely understand how difficult it is to be compared with one's siblings. Next to you, the princess seems so kind and thoughtful, and caring too. I see your point. Yes, it's rough to be held to your sibling standards. Isn't it though? So let's stop all this and get back to the fighting. Although... Well, what is it, Prince Ephraim? Erica's never been far from my side, in good times and bad. Without her, I'm not sure I could lead my people back from this disaster. I think I understand what you mean, Prince. When we lost our parents, I was shattered. Franz helped me get back on my feet. If I didn't have his help then, I don't know where I'd be today. You might be noticing that I'm using a lot of clips from the game for Forde. And no, it's not just because I'm lazy and don't feel like making panels. Forde's one of those characters that's about how he says what he says. His charm can't properly come across just by talking about what he says. It's like trying to review The Room by Tommy Wiseau. No amount of talking about it can really substitute just watching the movie for yourself. Or it's like supporting FEMS Paint by just watching the videos and not subscribing to the Patreon. The feeling just can't come across right unless you give me monetary benefits. If you think this segue was a little harsh and I came across as someone who doesn't appreciate his fans, well, let me tell you. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to benefits, like early access to panels for videos, getting your name visually and audio shout out on videos, and if you pay $7 a month, you can get access to polls to decide future character analysis videos. I realize that it's almost November and I don't have a Fates character this year, so I kinda did a poll to, do that. My patrons include the likes of Adebayo Thompson, Andrew Crockett, Benz Again, Dr. McBackstab, Fireman Lord, Fort Elizabeth, Great Riek, Hell on Heelys, Despacito 2, Keithan, Lightning Bolt, Nevrix the Tourmaline Project Creator, Ranger Man Sam, Ryan Walter, Shen Lu, Space1255, Steph D, Tato, Walmart Greeter, Ya Girl Olwyn, Auntie Ginger, Brentendo11, Drew Hack, Goo Goo Gaga Cornelia Milkers 92, Max the Knife, and Upscale Furry Trash. Thank you all for your continued support, and let's get back to Forde. With that out of the way, let's talk about Forde's two romantic supports, starting with Vanessa. She's a serious, hard-working soldier with little time for nonsense. You know, the type Forde gravitates towards. She catches him sleeping on the battlefield and tries to wake him up, but when that doesn't work, she gets irritated and leaves him there. An understandable and humorous reaction. When Forde is awake to thank her, the two start chatting, with Vanessa being immune to Forde's BS that sleeping on the battlefield is actually this super secret and intelligent strategy. And Forde manages to tease Vanessa about her having the hots for Inez, because Vanessa's crush on Inez is the worst kept secret since Victoria's. Like seriously, what's so secret about it? I can just walk inside. Their A support is weird. It starts fine enough, with Vanessa respecting Forde's skills as she realizes he's actually quite competent at his job. But then Forde starts flirting with Vanessa by talking about energy or some shit. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really get what they're going for here. That's not to say I think the couple is bad. I think of it the same way I think of Tana and Ephraim. A very cute couple in theory that their canon interactions don't express as well as I would like. Still, I know a lot of people really like Forde and Vanessa, so this might be one of those things like open world games or leukemia that some people get, but I don't. Nah, for me, Forde's true love is Erica, as I feel the two of them have amazing chemistry and a trio of really likable supports. It starts with Erica checking up on Forde, as a queen does to her knights, and Forde starts a conversation about Erica's choice in battle armor. Forde, for what I think is the first and only time in the series, wonders why the hell a woman is out fighting a war in a miniskirt, asking if she's worried it'll ever fly up and expose her undergarments. A valid question that should have been asked like 8 games before this, and Erica responds by pretending to flash him, which I would only think further proves his point. Fun fact, in the Japanese version, Erica doesn't pretend to flash him, she straight up does, or would if Forde didn't stop her from doing so. Why do I know this? Look, I may or may not be so obsessed with Fire Emblem Sacred Stones that I've poured over both the English and Japanese versions of the script. Am I ashamed of this? No. As the supports go on, it's mostly these two characters just bouncing off one another. Erica and Forde crack jokes at one another, they respect one another, it's just good chemistry. As the support goes on, the two talk about what they want to do when they're done fighting, and Forde says he wants to get back to the painting he's been putting off, which he really hasn't been if you look at his other supports. Upon learning that Forde paints, Erica asks if he would mind painting her, which might be the most rich girl thing Erica does in the entire game. Like, good lord, she's one of those people. Forde is taken aback. Remember, he's a landscape painter whose only portrait is of his deceased mother. But he agrees, happy to oblige her. The final bit of the support is Erica saying what she wants to do when they're done fighting. She acknowledges that just ending the war won't end the people's pain. She wants to go back to Renee and lead her people to a brighter future. A very abstract goal, but Forde is taken in by her words regardless, and swears to help her fulfill her dream. Thank you. I'm very grateful to you, Forde. It feels like this war might never end, and our people give in to despair quickly. But thanks to people like you, who smile in the face of sorrow, they can be saved. Oh no, you make too much of it. I'm nothing special. I simply cannot allow myself to worry when there's fighting to be done. You're the special one. You have such a profound effect on us all. Me? How so? It is because of you that we can go on. You and the prince are here, risking your lives for the cause. Your guidance, your leadership, it gives us a reason to live as well. A reason to live? Yes, to restore that radiant smile to your own lovely face. Oh! I fight to see you smile again, to drive the worry from your face. If I can do that, then I will be more than happy to paint your portrait. Forde. Their support ends with the two of them working tirelessly to restore Renee, and eventually, their dream is realized, and Forde paints a portrait that, quote, captured the smile that he thought lost forever. While that's sweet, his solo ending is also very good, stating that post-war he moves from knight to painter, being such a good artist that was commissioned so frequently he regretted the career change because he was always busy. Forde's a character who checks all the boxes. His backstory is simple and effective, his relationships are endearing, and his personality is very funny and likable. He's a prime example of a Fire Emblem character who might not be doing anything revolutionary, but he does his job very, very well. I hope you are intrigued by his character. As I've said, he's a guy that really needs to be seen for yourself to understand his charm. He's definitely a character you shouldn't be sleeping on. I would like to thank all of you for making it to the end of another character analysis video. I know that this one took a bit longer to come out than I'd have liked it to. A lot of things happened towards the end of October, so it took a while to get out, but it's here now. As always, I would like to thank the Green Brigand for his help. My buddy Guy looked over the script, made sure I didn't say anything stupid, and that is good. Trust me, I could say a lot worse. If you enjoyed the video, please consider going to the Discord. Link is in the description. We like to have fun there. I talk in there pretty frequently, and a lot of the guys there seem to really enjoy being there, so give it a shot. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, consider joining the Patreon, and have a happy Halloween. I went as AVGN this year. I was a little nervous about it considering James Rolfe is just a guy, but the bottle of Rolling Rock and the NES, I think, brought it together. Until next time.
Change the world. My final message.